Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Just for Today. Give everybody a chance that usually chimes on to chime on. So we'll just chit chat for just a second, get all this technology going. It is a very cool day today, so we are trying to stay warm and embrace, the storms have passed from yesterday, and we got some leftovers today, but spring's a coming. Daffodils are blooming all around me, and that brings me lots of joy. So, but guys, welcome. Let me know you're here on the chat. Just want to let you know that I'm not normally where I am. Hopefully our technology will hold up. Duke Power was so wonderful and sent me a message that my power would be off for repairs from 10 to 12 today. So I made arrangements to come to my mom's. So I'm actually in a room that it's been a part of my life for a long time, but it's a room that's been renovated I don't know how many times for different reasons. And I have kind of like this little echo going on, but it's because there's no like big furniture like a bed and dresser and things like that on there. And it's hardwood floors and there's no rug. And I didn't think about that, but so my voice might sound like it's echoing or bouncing off the wall like I'm in a hole. So just bear with me. But this is at my mom's house. I want to shout out my dad. My dad's name is Bill Max, and today he is 80 years old, 80 years young. So I got to tell my dad happy birthday this morning, and so I feel very privileged and honored that I still have my dad in my life, and he is well and active, and we might get 80 more years from him. So I told him this morning that that's a lot of years to wreak havoc on the world, and he just laughed and he said he did his best. And I'm sure he'll continue doing that. But today is a beautiful day with my family, and we'll be celebrating later on this evening with some dinner and some of my dad's favorite things. So it's always a joy to see him enjoy his food and fellowship with his family. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. So happy birthday to my dad. Maybe he'll watch this later, so we'll see. But thank you guys for chiming on. Let me know you're out there. I did, before we get started, for Just for Today, I wanted to, those of you who were on with me last time, we talked about my granddaughter and her project, and I think the title was Do the Damn Thing. It was all about, her deciding not to quit, not to settle for the zero in her French class. And so we talked a lot about her using her resources, and it wasn't really about the French class anymore. It was about teaching her that life skill when we feel overwhelmed or we don't feel adequate, that we can do the task, whether it's at your work or at home or wherever, that it's about finding your resources and pulling them towards you and capitalizing on their strengths to bring in the needs that you have. So we approached that, and you guys replied a lot. I had folks actually talk to me about it a little bit. Some of you even said you were going to use that with your own children or your grandchildren. But I hope for Just for Today that you actually thought about yourself, because all of us feel so overwhelmed sometimes that we can't do or we don't want to do it, but quitting or stopping it's really not an option. And for me, it was not an option for her just to take a goose egg for that project. So she embraced the idea. My daughter, Jamie, and I helped her. She did the majority of some of the hard work, but we did help her. And I want to let you know she was very, very late with it. So out of a possible 120 points, 20 points were lost because the project was late. But my granddaughter scored a 100, which brought her grade up, because it is a big part of their grade, up to an A. So it's hers to lose now. So she just needs to maintain that A, but most importantly, I hope that she will, and I think she will, she'll carry on this idea about bringing in her resources to get the job done, to get the damn thing done, right? She may not learn a word of French, but what she will come out of there is knowing that she can rise above, no matter what the project or task is, just like you, just like me. If we can rally in our resources and the people that have talents and strengths. It's not about knowing everything. It's about who you know and how to pull them together to get the damn thing done, right? Well, that's just, I told you guys last week that I'd give you an update on the project. 100, whoop, whoop. And so there you go. And it didn't, much matter that it was late. It was worth being late for her to learn a life project lesson and for us to reflect last week, just for today, is that something that we need to embrace? Well, I know for me it is. Every day at work, I feel overwhelmed sometimes, not every day, but I do, things that are asked of me or things pile up, and I reach out to my coworkers, and they help me or they give me ideas. So just remember that you're not out here by yourself. You're not an island. But welcome, guys, for just for today. I'm Lisa Kay, and those of you that most of the folks I see chiming in, just say hey to you guys. Aaron and Aaron Wells, my partner in crime at PRN, and another coworker of mine. Her name is Erin. And Miss Kim Porter is in the house. Tiana Brown is in the house. A lot of you are folks that I see in all my classes, in other classes. So welcome and thank you for your support. For anybody that watches this later, just for today is just what it is. This is a slogan that's used in NA, AA, and Al-Anon. I picked it up in Al-Anon. And it is something just to consider if it's just for today. Maybe something that you couldn't stand the thought of doing it for a lifetime or for a month or 2 weeks. But could you give it a chance just for today to consider the thought, the process, see if could be a success for you, some of your toolbox, and then, maybe you'll keep it or maybe you won't. But just for today, that's all it's about. And it's a wonderful slogan. I picked this up in the Al-Anon. I am on the other side of the addiction part, where I am a family member who has gone through many, many, many trials and traumas, supporting significant people and still in my life through the disease of addiction. I came to learn that I too had a disease, and that was codependency, as well as I am a trauma survivor of not just walking alongside my loved ones, but other significant traumas in my life. Being in that room, really set the stage for me. And this slogan is one that I held on to, and I really saw the meaning. I saw it at work by my friends that were in the rooms with me. This slogan. We started this several years ago at Promise Resource Live, and decided last year when we had to go virtual that we would bring it back again. So I hope you are enjoying it and you will find some worth and value in it. So I ask that you share this to your social media, so your friends and family members can watch if they need to or want to. You never know when someone's going to hear something they need that day, even if it's just for today. So just keep it sharing. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that. Aaron Wells has put this huge challenge out to us. This huge, I think it's like 10,000. We are growing it. We've got more than we did when we started campaigning it, but we haven't reached that goal yet, but we're going to keep plugging at it till we do. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube, please do that. We appreciate it. We want to do whatever we can to get out the word and the inspirations around recovery, that it's not, it's one of those things that our message is that, recovery is not that it possibly can, it's very probable that it can. And all of us here at Promise Resource, we are people with significant lived experiences around a lot of things. We're just far enough along now in our recovery that we reach back. And so all of our classes are put on or facilitated by people who are in recovery. And to me, that's pretty amazing, because when I want to know something, I want to go to the people that have already done it. To me, that's working smart, not hard. So keep sharing this. You just never know. But thank you guys for being on today. We're going to get started. What I normally try to do, not normally, but most of the time, I bring to you guys things to consider that I currently am going through, things that I'm currently working on in my own recovery, because, recovery is a lifelong journey, right? So in a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, there'll be an anniversary to a very significant trauma in my life, the most significant loss that I've ever experienced in my life, a thing that happened, an event, a tragic accident that happened within my personal life that took the life of my daughter and changed the life of another family member significantly, which had, of course, the trickle effect to the whole entire family, as well as my friends, as well as this community. My tragedy, and we're not going to go all into the tragedy. We don't do that. You don't need to know the nitty-gritty details. But those of you who have children, I know that you've probably said to yourself once or twice, I can't imagine what it would be like to lose a child. You can't, unless you do. And there may be some of you out here today that know what that's like. And it is the worst thing ever. 2002 is when my life changed forever, in March. March the 21st, 2002 is a very significant turn that turned my whole existence upside down. And so one of the things that I've learned is that no matter how many years or days or weeks or months that go by, when we have significant trauma, significant loss, it doesn't just poof, go away. And so we have this thing that we experience. Those of you, you may know about this. And if you don't, I'm hoping just for today, through my lived experience and what I'm going to share with you about this, that things may make sense to you. And the hope of this is when we get through this, I'm going to give you some ideas that I'm currently practicing that hopefully you can pick up and use when you're experiencing this. So we're going to talk about, just for today, to consider the anniversary effect. So I'm coming up on this anniversary date. March can be significantly hard for me, even though it brings a lot of beautiful things that I get excited about, like the flowers and the warmer weather and the hope of spring coming, and the summer's right behind it. It also is that anniversary month for me, where I lost my daughter. And for all these years, since 2002, every year is different. Every March is different. So, you can't just say it's like this all the time. But some years for me, very easily, don't know why. And some years it's very, very hard. Well, this year it is very, very hard. And I'm not sure why. Who knows? But we're going to talk about it today because I have experienced over the last couple of weeks some significant reactions to this anniversary. So I decided to jump in and do some research on my own, do some meditation and studying, because I haven't done this. I've read about the anniversary effect, but I've not dove into it and started applying it and giving it a chance, even if it was just for today. But I will tell you, I'm not 100%, but I'm getting through this. Every day seems to be a little bit better. Even this morning, I had to practice some of the things that I've picked up that I'm going to share with you today to get me through something that even happened this morning as I planned to come to my mom's to do this conversation. So, but I've also had days over the last 2 weeks that I have been very raw. And I mean that whatever came into my mind came out of my mouth. Some of it, thank goodness, was to folks that dearly love me and got me through it. They also know that it's March, so they helped me. I'm hoping that I didn't do damage to other folks that I don't even realize. A lot of different emotions and feelings over the last 2 weeks that I'm in my recovery now that I don't like this anymore. So I'm ready to do something different. So just for today, I'm going to share with you, if you have this anniversary effect, maybe just for today, you could consider some of the things to get through that. So what is the anniversary effect? Well, I've got it up on the screen for us. It's a collection, this is the definition, of disturbing feelings, thoughts, or memories that occur on or around a date that makes a significant or marks a significant event. Most of the time, these events can be very life-altering. We can think of big events that we have already experienced in our world, going back as far as, in my memory right at this moment, 9/11, folks that were there, or if you had loved ones there or something happening around that event, just the fear that we had in the world, that 9/11 day can really be detrimental to folks that in that trauma, that anniversary really affects them. Sometimes we don't even know what's going on. Some of the things around the pandemic right now that you experienced, the fear and the things that we went through and are still going through, that next year, like we've just had our year anniversary, some people may have started feeling some intense feelings because of the loss, because we're now started our second year of this. So we may, each anniversary of when the pandemic started and you got shut down from your job, your school, you got separated from your loved ones, that could be a significant event in your life that could cause some distress. So something even as present as what we're going through right now, or something that happened to you personally, or a big event. Okay, so it's called the anniversary effect. So let's see who's chatting in this morning before we dig in. Okay, Miss Darlene's in the house, so I know I can get started now. Thank you, Miss Darlene, for joining us this morning for Just for Today. Aaron brings attention, so what I go through actually has a name. Who knew? Yeah, the anniversary effect. Yeah. Sure does. So guys, keep talking, keep chatting this up. If you hear something you want to hear more about, or you just want to make or release something in the chat, please do so. Everybody in this chat are recovery warriors, and I have seen it over and over again every week. I'm just steady doing my thing, and you guys are ministering to each other right there on the chat. So we do that here. That's what Purian does. That's what recovery is. That's what we do, is support each other through some stuff, right? So keep that going. All right, let's dig in a little bit before our time gets away from us. So what happens with this anniversary effect? So when, we're going through this thing, sad, you're irritable, anxious, emotionally shut down, or unable to sleep. And I think even in some of my other readings, I saw that, or it's it's not unable to sleep. like you can't get enough sleep. You're just groggy all the time and all you want to do is sleep, that kind of stuff. So it can cause these intense feelings around this date. So what are those things that could that happen? So it could be the anniversary, the birthday of a loved one that you've lost, or a day that something happened like an accident, assault, it could have been a wreck. It could have been, something like 9/11. It could have been anything, the pandemic, like we just talked about. It's just that big significant thing that could have happened. And so anniversaries could be the date it happened, or it could be like what's suggested here. It could be someone's birthday. It could be Christmas time. That is that significant memory that brings back all these emotions, these intense things that causes us to kind of be out of character, where we are lashing out or we're very, very extremely sad and we can't stay in the present. So the date nears, bad memories start to resurface, and you will realize that you're experiencing the annual echo of the trauma. And I like that phrase, the annual echo. I'll give you an example. So it happens today that I had to come here to my mom's home to do this class. And, it wasn't, I just found out yesterday about the outage. So, this was already thought of class. So this significant accident or event that happened with my daughter actually happened in this home that I'm sitting in today. So just driving here, turning down the road that goes to my mother's, I had flashbacks. I don't always have flashbacks, but right now, not. And when I do, sometimes it's just just a flash and it's gone. And I'm able to get through it really quick. Today wasn't like that for me. So as I turned on the street to go to my mother, I literally kind of stopped before I turned into her driveway because, the road in front of my mother's house, the day that I got, all this pollen stuff going on, all these flowers got me choked up. So I just had a flashback of what the road looked like when I got home. The string of cars that went all the way down her road on both sides of the road, police, ambulance. My yard was actually roped off with that tape, that yellow tape. I had no idea what I was coming home to. My cell phone had died that afternoon, and that was back in 2002, and our technology wasn't as great. Chargers weren't as great. So when I turned in today, I had a really longer moment of seeing that. So that bad memory flashback came. And so it was almost paralyzing. Fortunately for me, I was on the phone with someone that I care so much about and who understands what I'm going through. And they didn't really realize it, where I was or what was going on with me. But because I was talking to a positive person in my life that was building me up on this day, and during this time that they knew I was going through this, it got me through the road where I could actually turn on to my mom's, right? I've had that happen before where it completely shut me down for the day. But because of what I'm going to share with you today, I can move through it. And I'm going to continue to practice it. And I believe more than just for today. Okay? All right. So let's see what we got here. So any more chats? Let me just check to see if we have anybody else. Erin brings up, this describes my post-Thanksgiving through New Year's emotional roller coaster. Exactly. There may have not been a significant trauma that actually happened on Thanksgiving or on Christmas, but those holidays can flood back memories of trauma, of loved ones that we've lost, or family members that we've lost that we normally would be spending the holidays with that are no longer with us, that may be through because they've transitioned, or maybe there's been a falling out in the family, anything in between, but it's significantly loss. It's loss. So what could bring that on could be just sights, hearing Christmas music, the smell of, Thanksgiving dinner cooking, seeing those plates sit around the table, knowing that that particular chair is going to be empty this year, or it has been empty for almost 20 years, right? So it can be that kind of thing that can, trigger this anniversary effect. Very good. Thank you, Erin. All right, let's just move on here. So there's some research behind this thing. It really is. And so I love anything that says it's research-based. It's not just from one or two people, that they have gone in and really dug deep. And it makes me trust a little bit more some of the things that we can put in place in our life that can help us through this. So research shows that our brains store painful and sad or traumatic memories in a very easily accessible way. So that can be reminded of and warn off the dangers to protect us from something similar happening again. So, so what happens is, excuse me, we believe this happens because of the way the brain processes, so the research tells us is there's a special way our brain processes trauma. And most everyday moments get filtered through our thoughts and feelings. When trauma happens, the brain skips those normal pathways of our everyday living. Instead, it sends this information straight to our alarm center. When all kind of bells and whistles go off, you might say, my radar goes up, red flags, irrational thoughts start happening. A sense of fear comes over you that nobody else around you is feeling, and you feel like you're about to come out of your skin, and they're just going on with their day. The alarm center quickly responds to clues about the situation through our sights, sounds, and our other senses. All this happens in a second, a fraction of a second, without a signal, initiating thought or feeling. So, it can just come out of nowhere, it can. It could be a song you heard that triggers a memory around this anniversary or around this significant trauma or loss. It could be a smell. For me, smells are big. So when my tragedy happened, it was in March. Daffodils, grass. People had already started cutting their grass. So when I smell fresh cut grass and I see daffodils or I see things start to bloom, it can very easily put me in this memory. And then all these feelings come rushing. And what I'm trying to do today is present to us something that we could hang on to so we can move forward, and not lose time, that we can stay in the present. We can also acknowledge the loss and the trauma as well, because it's not going to go away. It is part of who we are. And it's definitely a part of who I am. When I got through some of the biggest, hardest parts and got into recovery over it, I made the most important decisions in my life that have led me exactly in the chair that I'm sitting in right now talking to you. It took some years, but I'm here and I'm able to share my story of hope around something that most of us can't even imagine. So that's what this is about today. So the brain does this for a good reason. Our knew, right? He knew what kind of brain we needed, and we needed some protection from our thoughts. So some of the traumas that we've gone to, if you can think of, maybe you've been in a car accident before, and you can be driving and you can hear screeching of tires, and what do? We instantly jerk and wonder. Some of us actually put our foot on the brake, and we get more alert. We're looking in our rearview mirror, our side mirrors, because is that thing that we hear screeching, is it coming towards us, right? Is there something that we need to move away from? So our brain signals us through sight, sounds, and things like that, that there's danger, right? And we might need to, or we do need to be more alert and pull it together and get ourselves to safety. So one of the things that it talked about is, you know how people or a doctor might say, you know, I hate the dentist. We talked about this last week, I believe. I don't even remember when. I think we did talk about this last week about the dentist, right? So I've had some experiences with the dentist that weren't very pleasant, and we won't go into that. But I've heard dentists and I've heard other people say, oh, Lisa, it'll be just fine. But my intuition and my trauma and my events that has happened around certain procedures around dentistry tell me, you're just going to be fine. Words don't really set in. And so what we do is we actually enter those things with caution. So what happens is our brain picks up on this, and it's clues like things people might say is, oh, it'll be just fine. That might be a clue for you. Or screeching of tires is a clue for you. Danger is around you. A siren, you know, when we hear that, we know, you know, of course it alerts us, but we know we need to get out of its way. So we hear that sound, and I don't know you, but my anxiety goes up. And I do get very vigilant about being safe, getting out of its way so it can go do its job, go get whoever is hurt. So it puts all these clues into a case file in our brain. And that's what it kept referring to in my readings, a case file. I like that. It keeps storing it in these case files. Something like weather patterns too. Those of you who have been in parts of our world that have experienced tornadoes or damage from a tornado or high winds, a tree falling into the house, things like that. So the sounds of wind can really, for certain people, bring back this reaction. In your case file says caution. You've experienced this before, okay? And it could be seasonal things. It could be a tradition like Aaron talked about with Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter, all of those things that have tradition around them. Those sights and sounds, all those things, they're stored in a case file in our brain. Some of those things that we have stored in a case file will trigger us. And when those triggers are strong enough and we don't have something to pull out of our toolbox around this anniversary effect, it can cause extreme distress. And for me, this last couple of weeks, I have experienced some extreme distress. And I just want something different. All right, so let's move. Let's see if we got any chats going on before we get to the meat of this. I want to recognize Miss Karen's on. Thank you, Miss Karen. Glad to see you are in the house. Miss Bonnie Lee is in the house. Awesome. Thank you guys for being on today. All right, let's move on. So let me know what you're thinking about this in the chat, so I can make sure that I'm being clear about what this thing is. This is more than just a simple fleeting thought around something. This is a thought that really trips you up. These are extreme emotions around an anniversary that will really cause you to be out of character and not be in the present. So what are ways that we can we can know what these reactions are? And that's what we're going to talk about next. Let's see, let me find my little thing right here. Yeah, here we go. So what are these anniversary reactions? So I've named a few of them. Some of you have thought of some. So I'd love to see if yours are any different that you've experienced. So one of the things that we react to when we're in this anniversary effect is memories, dreams, thoughts, and feelings. these thoughts just don't stop even after you go to sleep. The dreams can be experienced as night terrors, even things that are so rough in our sleep that it wakes us up and it's hard to get through. You just can't turn it off. The repeated images of that significant thing, the sounds, the scenes that are associated with the trauma, and it can repeat over and over. They can reoccur in our dreams or nightmares. These reactions may be as vivid as what you experienced on the day the event happened. And that's really, really hard. And I've experienced that where what I envisioned from the time I got to this house, and then even the days and months and years afterwards, there was some intense time here and in this community that I could not get through, and that repeated itself over and over. So that's how significant an anniversary effect can be. The other reaction we can have is grief and sadness, extreme sadness that you can't seem to get through, and it affects everything that you're doing. Sometimes individuals who experience grief and sadness, it can be related to even income. So the anniversary date of losing your career, not just a job, but you lost your career and haven't been able to regain it. The loss of those coworkers can really bring this deep grief and sadness. So it's not always about the loss of a person. It could be something as significant, because we know with our 8 dimensions of wellness, that occupation, that thing that we gravitate to, that's part of our identity, losing that can definitely have this emotional response. Fear and anxiety is another one. That it jumps out of nowhere. You can be carrying on a conversation and all of a sudden it just leaps right into you. The fear of, so one of the triggers for me, or one of the things around this reaction this time of year, is hearing sirens. And I know I say that really Southern, so I'm sorry. You know what I'm talking about on an ambulance, that thing. We won't go into that. I get teased all about for that word. I don't even know how to say it like anybody else, but it's siren to me. So hearing that sound to me right now can trigger a really deep emotional experience. Seeing a helicopter. These are some sights and sounds that I heard during this very traumatic event, because my event was on the news, and it was for a long time. It even made national news. And so helicopters constantly flying around my house from different news broadcasts. And I can see their letters or their number on their helicopter. So right now, even hearing the helicopter brings on these emotions. It brings that flashback of that scene for me. So anxiety out the woozah, you just almost feel like I'm about to come out of my skin sometimes. So these are some really extreme fear and anxiety around these anniversary dates. Here's a big one for me. It seems to be this last couple of weeks, and I have tried to apologize to folks that got on the other end of this for me. But that frustration, anger, and guilt, I even said, I know Erin this week, what's going on right now with a work thing we were doing has me so frustrated that I don't even know what to do with myself. And this is nothing. And this has happened before, and I have never experienced being this frustrated. And of course, he is that person that, understands, and a lot of my other coworkers do as well, and they can help us through those things. But it's that extreme frustration, anger. And the other one that is suggested here is guilt. And for me, it's the survivor's guilt. And what I mean by that, we have lost someone. Those of us that are left, I've had an experience before where I was enjoying something. This has been about 10 years ago. This was a huge memory that I have of the survivor's guilt, is that I was out enjoying a day on the lake, and everybody was having a good time, and it was great. And nothing that I knew of just triggered it, but I got this extreme guilt feeling that crushed me, and I really couldn't get out of it, and I couldn't even stay present in that moment, that I was here enjoying the sun, the water, beauty of life, but my daughter was not. And why couldn't it have been me? And that's happened to me before, but this is a huge memory that I have, because I was done for the day. I couldn't even pretend. So that's what we call survivor's guilt. And this is another reason I want to do something different. I don't want to live this way anymore. Okay, so the other one is avoidance. Some survivors try to protect themselves from experiencing this anniversary reaction by avoiding reminders of the event. Like, I may not come to my mom's, I may not visit my daughter's grave, I may just really do anything I can that will not trigger a memory. So there's a local, one of the main highways that I travel where I live is called Highway 321. The anniversary date is March 21st. Well, when I see the sign, it says Highway 321. If I hear people count down, 10, 9, 8, every New Year's, I listen to the countdown. When it gets to 3, 2, 1 every year, that's where my memory goes, is this anniversary date. It's not as extreme every year, but I have had some New Year's or some countdowns that it shut me down for a period of time, and it made me go back. So avoiding, I have actually walked out of the room before where I did not hear the ball drop, or see the ball drop. I knew it was dropping, but I didn't have to hear the 3, 2, 1. That's how significant 3, 2, 1 is in my life. So I avoid it at all costs, right? The next one is remembrance. So a lot of folks will embrace their tears, and they will do something around the anniversary date for the remembrance. I've done that. That has been helpful. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not. But there has been years in my life that I wanted to do something big around this loss, and I've done that. It might be visit the graveside, have special prayer, put flowers, like candles, and remember this individual. So those are some of the things, or sit around and tell stories about that loved one or that significant loss, things that try to remember them in such a way that takes the tragedy or the trauma away. And then we have reflection, which is the last reaction I'm going to talk about. The reflection about the disaster or the anniversary date. A reflection can be a good thing, but it can also cause extreme, but I do a lot of reflection about how far I've come, how far I can tell my story. We were with, Through the Eyes of Others, we had a very special lady on with us this past week, Miss Beryl, and she was sharing about her life and her loss, and it made me reflect back, but it also brought on, because she was talking about how far she's come, it made me reflect about how far I can come. And today in 2021, I can actually sit here and talk about my trauma and not feel shame, blame, and feel embarrassed. I embrace that as who I am now. So those are good things, but it can cause very strong emotions, very strong emotions. So let's see who we got on the chat, and then we're going to go to what the heck do we do with this when we recognize that we have this anniversary effect going on. So let me see what we got going on in our chats. Miss Karen says, I find myself more lethargic and unable to focus because I get stuck in my thoughts and my feelings and emotions. Yep, lethargic. That's the word, Karen. You nailed it. You nailed it. Erin says, the happiness of others during the holidays is annoying to me. Yep, I get that too. I know when I went to Walmart this year, it was like, it wasn't Thanksgiving yet, and they were already playing Christmas music, and I saw people with Christmas hats. I get annoyed, absolutely. I relieve the unhappiness I experienced with my family issues that was always magnified. Plus, my mother and grandmother died during the holiday period. So absolutely, that's that anniversary effect. Those sights, smells, sounds bring on that irritation because it floods in those memories of the loss, significant loss during that time. Miss Bonnie Lee talks about withdrawals from anxiety is very traumatizing and hard to let go of because of anxieties represent addiction to trying to make what internal you try to leave struggles with the loss of a learned behavior, aka experience of expectations. And I know it's deep. Yeah, I understand that internal and also that learned behavior is also part of this thing. And I'm hoping today, we're going to get there in a second, that we can find some things that we can hang on to just for today. Erin's letting me know that they can hear, you guys can hear me, but I'm freezing up, so I'll try to quit moving. So yes. And then Miss Kristen Brown says, yes, each year can be different. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So I'll try to be still. So we can, I won't freeze up no more because I hate to freeze. You don't know if you've got that ugly face or you're looking weird or whatever. So I would never freeze and have a beautiful smile. So mine will probably be weird looking. So hopefully we're not froze right now. So what can we do, guys? So please write these down. Go back and watch it later. But these are some things that are kind of self-explanatory, but they're like, like common sense. But when we wrap these ideas around this anniversary effect and we validate that this thing's real, and we can bring attention to this, we can get through it better. And we don't have to lose days and weeks and years around it. Mark your calendar. If you know the date, mark it. Plan around that time of the year. It even suggests that plan to take a vacation day or plan to share with especially new coworkers or new friends that this is a significant time in your life, that you might need to kind of be by yourself for a little bit, see you struggling, that might be why. So mark your calendar. Oops. Be patient with yourself. It could have been 2002, quite a few years ago. It might have been 40 years ago. It might be last week. Having an anniversary action can seem like a setback. You might feel embarrassed for feeling the ways that you do, or even question what you've done wrong in your healing. I know that's been an issue for me. Why am I still struggling with this every year or every other year or whatever that is? What am I not doing right in my healing? So be patient with yourself. Be kind. Do what you can to fight against those thoughts because they are not helpful. So blaming yourself, what's wrong with me? Why am I not as resilient as I should be? Those thoughts are not helpful. They are not being kind to you, and it's not fair. You wouldn't treat other people that you love that way, so stop treating you that way. And I'm talking to myself, okay? Remind yourself that this happens to many people, even years later, and that it can take a while for this to lose its power. It's not you. This is just what happens, okay? Mark the passage of time. Well, this means that you may not know this, but the part of your brain that's reacting right now has trouble with telling time. Did you know that? Find ways to mark this as a new year, the present, not the past. You might consider a new piece of meaningful jewelry, getting a haircut, writing a list of how far you have come, and placing it on your mirror or on your phone. So rethink the time. So mark this passage of time with something more positive if it's bringing you negative thoughts. Create a ritual. If this reaction is happening, but you are you're in a safe environment, it might be that your body is signaling you to create some kind of personal closure to that experience. So it could be a ritual, any kind of ritual. Creating a ritual might give your body and mind the time and the space to process what happened to you when you couldn't before. It's hard to do this, but if you can, pay attention to what comes up for you. Grief, anger, fear. What are some rituals that could help you release it? Some suggestions could be lighting a candle. Give yourself 15 minutes a day to feel all those feelings, all those guilt, shame, blame feelings that are coming up that you have. And then write a letter and then rip it up or toss it away. Burn it, whatever. I burn mine. I love to burn things. Take a self-defense class, something that really, really creates a ritual for you, that in mind you're trying to put closure, not to what happened, but those negative, strong feelings that are happening that you don't deserve anymore, to let them go. Okay? My time's getting away from us. Seek support. Isolation also fuels this reaction. Refuse to give into the shame that says no one wants to hear about this anymore. That was a big thing that I carried for many years. When people would ask me what was going on, I really in my mind said, nobody cares anymore. Nobody wants to hear about your loss anymore, Lisa. Move on. Find people who do care about you and what you've been, even if that support is not from your friends and family. There's an online support group out there for everything. I even, and I looked up some of these for my own personal use around the loss and grief of a child, and am heavily considering joining those. Not just so I can receive, but I also want to give some insight and some hope as well. So yeah, seek support. Create an emergency plan. It's kind of like a RAP plan, that wellness recovery plan. So before the anniversary day, create a plan. People, places, and things that have worked before, that didn't work, and make a plan. Be intentional about your plan. So when that anniversary or that time of the year happens, Christmas, Thanksgiving, or whatever, have this plan. Maybe you're gonna, Erin, you can travel to, somewhere different during the times of the year and experience new, to try to come up with a way not to paralyze or feel those intense feelings that keeps us from being in the present. Here's a good one. And this is kind of what I've done over the last few days. Automate tomorrow's task. You might find it's hard to think clearly during those anniversary times. So before you get there, go ahead and plan out things where you don't have to think what you need to be concentrating on work today or around the house or other things. You already have kind of nailed it. because it's hard when you're feeling these distressed feelings to really think clearly and to be creative or sometimes to even care. But there are things in your life during those days that you really need to get done. It's your responsibility at work or at home, so having it planned out so you don't have to think today's a day for. So a couple of days ago, I wrote down today's to-do list so I don't have to think. And I made sure there were things that weren't going to cause me a lot of stress either. And definitely have my day planned out for the actual anniversary date. And it will be things that are not very stressful. And I don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about what I need to do today. Here's one, ignore it. And the reason they put this up there is because they said some of us are considering just ignore the date. But while skipping the day by keeping busy or not acknowledging it at all can help to some degree, it may also have the opposite effect. It may intensify or prolong the reactions you're having. Do it if it works, but be careful with this one. Be very careful with just ignoring it. I like this one. Help others. Reach out with an organization. So many things are going on right now in our community. Our homeless neighbors that have been displaced. Those organizations, including Promise Resource, who are out there trying to help this transition into housing, into hope. Join those organizations. Find out how you can volunteer. Do something that can help others. Be creative around that. It is a way of keeping busy, but one that is meaningful and that can let you channel your feelings and release them. When you help people, you will find a way to release some of those feelings into something that can help someone else that helps us. Create a new association. Many survivors, trauma survivors, find it helpful to create a new over-the-top positive event to associate with that day. This might be hard to do, and it might take some of us longer, depending on where you are in your recovery and your resources. Plan a vacation. You could go do something different. You could take up, I always wanted to be a runner and run marathons. This was one of the suggestions. I hadn't started that training yet, but that's something you could consider. Or join another different organization or something that's just way over the top for you, that really takes you out of your comfort zone, that you would really enjoy once you got in there. So yeah, think about that. The other one is limit your stress intake. I can't say that enough. While we're going through this anniversary effect, undue stress, things that can be put off next week or 2 weeks from now, do it. That's why planning ahead is so important. So limit it. If there's people, places, and things that really bring your stress up, go ahead and let folks know. I'm going to be offline for a couple of days. If I don't answer you right away, I'll get back with you. You don't have to be rude or ugly like you saw, but be aware. Up those parameters, those boundaries that can keep those stress. There's no important task than to do this very thing right here, which is care for yourself as best you can. Do those things that really bring care to you, that really bring care. More than just a pedicure, manicure, or massage. Think outside the box. It may be that you're going to sleep in a little bit. It may be that you watch movies that inspire you. And it may be that you go plant flowers. Whatever that thing is, be kind. Take good, gentle care. You're worth it. I'm worth it. These are some of the things that I'm going to start doing. One of the things that I'm not patient with myself. So I'm going to be more intentional about that. That self-care, limiting stress. There's several things that have been going on at work that need to be attended to, but not today, not till Monday or Tuesday of next week. be okay that didn't get checked off your to-do list. Okay, just be kind to yourself. So also coming up with a plan. That's something I've never done before, is come up with a plan. And who are those people that I might need to be a part of or bring into my circle? So I'm going to be more intentional about my plan. So I'm already using some of these right now. Several of these helped me get here this morning. Several of these things helped me get down the road to turn into the driveway, to come into this house, to walk past the scene, to come up in the space that my very daughter used to live in. There's been years I haven't been able to do that. And I'm just so thankful through some of these things that I've been able to do in the past, but now I've learned some new ones, because this year's been pretty intense for me, and I don't like it at present, but I don't also not want to honor my experience and to bring awareness around it, and to let other folks that know that I've experienced this, so I can be a help to others. So I hope this has been helpful for you, even if it's just for today, that you'll consider using some of these things to prepare. Also, if you can consider this anniversary effect, that it really is a real thing. And I encourage you to go read more about it. Talk more about it with your family, your friends that could be experiencing the same anniversary effect around the same event or the same date. So let me just check in with chat and get any last fleeting thoughts before our hour is up, y'all. I can't believe it. It always flies by. Or I just run my mouth too much, one or the other. But just for today, that's probably not going to change. Let's see. So I'm going to grab a hold of a few of these because I know our time is up. So Kristen talks about that she really loves some of these, that ways to release all of those feelings. Thank you. Erin talks about, I'll begin my overdrive in investing in others, up my time of volunteering and giving back. Absolutely. Miss Bonnie Lee had to leave us, and telemarketers keep calling, annoying, can't stay focused. Well, Miss Bonnie Lee, I hope you come back and watch the rest of this later. Erin, let's see, where did it go? Erin said something. Goodness, this thing is going nuts over here. We have Tanya saying, thanks for sharing. Sorry, this year's been difficult. And thank you all for experiencing this. Today, I will say not today. I had so much happen around this time just for today. I deserve peace of mind. Absolutely, you do. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for coming on today. I hope that I didn't freeze up too much and you were able to hear everything. I'm not sure if you did, but I love you guys, and I hope just for today that you'll consider this anniversary effect and what you can do to get through it. I love you guys, and see you next time. Bye.